Hi there, it's Vicki Boutin here at Scrapbook.com for American Crafts, and I'm super excited to share with you some basics for art crayons. It is probably one of my favorite tools to use and mediums. When you buy the art crayons, they come in 3 different sets. You have a warm palette, the cool palette, and the neutral palette. And what's wonderful with these is that they will blend to make a whole other plethora of colors other than what you have here. So we have the art crayons, which obviously you need to do watercolor with art crayons. The other thing that I find with mixed media that's super helpful is having a substrate or foundation that will work really well with wet mediums. And that's where this paper, the foundations paper, comes into play. This I released I don't know, I think last January, and it has been quickly one of the favorite Vicki Boutin items. Doesn't matter, again, for card makers, for art journaling, for scrapbooking. What's wonderful with this paper is it's 140-pound weight. So it is a bright white, and I want you, if you can hear this, it is very heavy, so it will help you be super successful in your mixed media endeavors because it's going to hold your mediums. There again, if you pour a whole bunch of water on it, it will still buckle and you'll still get the hills and valleys, but it certainly is a lot more forgiving than just using a sheet of cardstock. So that is one of the golden nuggets I'm going to share, is the paper you use will make a difference in how successful you will be with watercolor and wet mediums. So I wanted to share that with you because I cut down a whole bunch of pieces that when I start explaining the art crayons, I have these pieces of foundation paper that I cut and prepped. So I'll get that out of here. So here's the other plus, is that me being able to show you this is magic, because when you see it online, all you can see is this rainbow cover and you're not sure what's inside of it. This was just to show you possibilities. So if that doesn't translate well when you're looking for it online, it is a plain white pad of paper. So we have those ready to go. The other thing that I like to use with the art crayons is a way to get them from art crayon to finished project. And that's when I use clear sheets of acrylic. So it comes in a package of 12 by 12. And what I've done is just cut a couple of different sizes so it's easier to handle. So we're going to also be using that. And now we're going to get into talking about the actual art crayon. So I love these guys. The art crayons are, let's just grab a couple of colors to use. And if you notice, I set them all up so it looks like a rainbow, because that's what brings joy to my heart, is rainbows and butterflies. So even for you guys that have a little darker soul and like that, the browns and the neutrals, we'll play with those as well. But you will find I always gravitate towards the rainbow colors. So art crayons, they are like an oil pastel. So when you look at these art crayons, it looks like a crayon. And it's a lot of the questions, is it the same as using my kids' crayons? No. These are water soluble. So it is like an oil pastel, but it's magical because you can blend it with water. So that is the biggest thing with the art crayons, is understanding that even though it's in crayon form, it can create a whole bunch of magic. So when you get your new art crayons, you're going to find that it has a coating. Some of the crayons like have that white coating. You can really see it on this red. So all I want you to do when you first get this package is take a baby wipe and just prep your crayons. So to start, and this is, you watch the magic here. When I open this baby wipe up and you see how much pigment's on here, is why I love these art crayons, is they are heavily pigmented. So I haven't even started using them yet, and just putting a little moisture to them, you get all that pigment off. So when you're starting with the art crayons, not a bad idea to just get that white finish off of the edges so they're ready to go. Here's the other magic with art crayons. A broken crayon will still work. When you get down and dirty and loving these crayons, you're going to find that they're super soft, but not as soft as other water-soluble art crayons. They're just that kind of happy medium. Not too hard, not too soft. It's like Goldilocks going in deciding which chair or bed she's going to sit in or lay in. The art crayons are just kind of that happy medium, so they're great for beginners up to advanced mixed media or watercolor enthusiasts. So when you get these started, the biggest thing I want you to know is, unless you want it to be an oil crayon effect, you wouldn't take the art crayon and color directly on to the paper and then try to blend it with water. Because what will happen is the paper has memories. It's a series of fibers in the paper. So if I try to blend this out now, I can never get rid of those lines. So that is one of those things, when I was talking to you guys and asking you what you'd like me to share, this is a big tip. If you take this and you try to do the same techniques that I'm going to show you and you put it directly on paper, you're going to say, see, I can't do this. Yes, you can. This is the tip. Find a source like a sheet of plastic or a stamping block or just mixing it on a nonstick craft mat, and then put your medium on to your project. That is a big tip. Not directly to paper, unless I wanted a technique like this, where I'm like, oh, when I'm finished, I want to have just kind of an art crayon, art oily finish. I could do that. So you could definitely blend them out like that, but that is not how you would create the watercolor. So that tip out of the way, let's show you some art crayon basics. So when I'm using these art crayons, I can put it on, this is what I like to use, and this is manageable to show you, just a little 6x6 sheet of acrylic. You could use packaging that you're going to throw away. As long as it is non-porous, it's perfect delivery system for watercolor. And this is kind of like watercoloring, I don't want to say for dummies because that sounds negative. It's more watercoloring without being able to make mistakes. It's like not having to take a brush and a blank palette and figuring out where to start. This makes it easy. And I'm going to discuss a couple of different techniques in later videos of ways that I use this, like the kissing technique, and I'll get into that. But I want to give you kind of a peek. You can take this crayon then, and you can totally scribble it on to the plastic. You do not have to press hard, nice and light. And if you notice, when I put my pigment down, I'm not coloring it all over the page because that's hard to pool the pigment. If you have it all over when I start to blend it with water, you want to have it kind of in a condensed area. And this is another golden nugget. The magic with watercolor is all going to be learning the right consistency with water and pigment. If you want it to be very light, it would be more water and less pigment. If you want it to be really dark, it would be more pigment and less water. If you want that happy medium in between, the key is always going to be, if you're having trouble with this, I probably 9 times out of 10 say not enough water. And you'll hear, if you guys are out there and you've taken a class with me, you'll hear me walk around and I'll point, more water, more water, more water. So I'm going to kind of show you that magical consistency. So I am just taking my paintbrush, and here's another thing when I'm doing a lot of watercolor stuff. This is out of my paintbrush set that comes on the card. I love round brushes for watercoloring. And this one is a number 10. So number 10 and up are really keys for success, because that barrel in a round tip brush holds lots of moisture. And when you want to do the little splats and the drops, and you want to get water from your cup to your watercolor area, it will carry a lot more water. So see how now that I blend this out, there's tons of pigment. These are heavily pigmented. So it's not like you're going to use half the crayon to get the result that you want. I only use a little bit of the tip. And I'm going to go in here and just blend this out. And then I'm going to put some on to my foundations paper just so you can see. And I'm going to show, because one of the requests that I had is, can you show me doing it the wrong way? And there's never a wrong way, but I'm going to show you when you don't have enough water. So I could drip this on here and kiss it. And you'll see tons of pigment in those art crayons. So what are our takeaways here? Not directly to paper, put it on something you can carry it on to your finished background. So it could be a sheet of plastic, packaging, you could use a stamping block, anything that the material will sit on top, a non-porous surface. And then you have lovely, heavy pigmented pigment in the watercolor effect, okay? Another thing that I love to do with the art crayons is using them with acrylic stamps or rubber stamps, any type of stamps. This is the thing when I am demoing art crayons that is the hook. Like, it is the thing that if you weren't sure if you'd like them before, as soon as I show you how easy it is to use with the stamps, you're going to be like, oh yeah, I love that. So I have here one of my flower stamps. And you want to remember that these art crayons are fairly soft, so don't press too hard when you apply it. And the other thing is, if you press really hard, you're going to get it into the grooves, and it's just more work. You'll be cleaning it up forever. So just make sure light touch will get the pigment delivered. Remember that you can dip these in water to get the pigment started. So I will take it, put it in my water cup, and then just start applying the art crayon. I'm not pressing very hard, just lightly over the top. And here's the other magic. There's so much pigment in these art crayons that I can get a couple stamped impressions from one application. And the other technique you can use is the more water, the more of a watercolor look you will get. The less water, the crisper the image. So I'm going to put that, and I'm going to put maybe a little bit of the red in the center. Now, this looks wet, but I don't really know at this point how much moisture is on here. So just take your mister and give it a couple of sprays just to activate the art crayon. Your first impression might not be perfect, but as you keep going and adding water, you will get a beautiful stamped impression with these art crayons. And this stamp has a lot of detail, so you'll see when this dries, you completely can see the image in there, but I'm not even going to add any more water. Look at what I can keep doing. These, and it's not done yet. Missed it. It will activate it again, and you can stamp more. So isn't that awesome? Like, this is probably one of my favorite things to do. Great for making cards. Great, your kids can play along. So it is one of the most magical things that these art crayons can do. You don't have to be the Picasso. The art is in your stamp, and then you just add whatever color palette you want and you stamp away. So the art crayons are awesome on their own in the color that comes directly out of each individual crayon. Here is another magic thing. They can be blended to make new colors. So my favorite color is turquoise. Let's make that one. So I'm going to take, I have this kind of blue-green and this light blue. And all you have to do when you put them on your delivery system is put some color down. And then again, it's all about playing and practicing. So you can start your own new color palette by just blending different colors together and seeing what you can get. So to blend that, just add your water and mix it in. Now it looks pretty blue still. If I want that to be a little more turquoise, I can just add more art crayon into the wet pooled color. You can't contaminate these because all you'd have to do is just wipe the tip off. And then just blend that in. And then you can get a new, oh, I love that color. And I'm going to put some on to my page so that you can see what this looks like. So look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? So I just want you to think that there's more possibilities beyond just what's in that package. You can make your own color palette of whatever your favorite color is. It's all about experimenting and playing. But to finish these off, art crayons. I love them. They are little sticks of magic and full of possibilities. So those are a few tips for success. And I hope that that clears it up on the best way to use Vicki Boutin art crayons. Thanks for watching. If you like this video and want to see more from Scrapbook.com, please like, share, subscribe, and leave a message. Happy crafting!